back again with another trailer reaction, this time for the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power series, which is coming out on Amazon, I believe. Is it Amazon? I'm not sure. I am so excited for this. If you don't know, Lord of the Rings is probably one of my favourite things of all time. I believe Lord of the Rings The Two Towers was the first movie I ever saw in cinema. It was the first franchise that I ever remember loving. And yeah, I just love Lord of the Rings so much. I've seen those movies countless times, and as my parents like to say, I could probably recite all of those movies. I could probably recite the scripts from all of those movies if I had the time. Even the extended versions, especially the extended versions, I could recite the whole thing. It's ingrained in my mind so heavily that I just love Lord of the Rings that much. Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, I've got my Gollum pop out here, and I'm so happy that this is getting a show. In an age now where you can have a show mean as much as a movie does, because basically shows now, they're like long movies, and I love that they're giving Lord of the Rings this amount of time, however many episodes it is, and it's probably unavoidable in this day and age. But one thing I do not want was like The Hobbit being over CGI'd, and it did not always look good. So hopefully they can give us good CGI in this, and if not, just try and make everything you can practical, because that's what made Lord of the Rings special. And I know we're going to be dealing with a whole cast of characters here, a lot of characters, so quite a bit Game of Thrones, but I don't want Game of Thrones, I want Lord of the Rings. And the reason I know that is because I know a lot of characters are going to be focused on in this series, specifically 19 characters. And if you want to know who those characters are, it all started with the forging of the Great Rings. 3 were given to the elves, immortal, wisest, fairest of all beings. 7 to the dwarf lords, great miners and craftsmen of the mountain halls. And 9 rings were given to the race of men who, above all else, desire power. So the 19 holders of the 19 rings of power, because Sauron was the 20th with the Master Ring. Yeah, and I imagine this is supposed to be set in the Second Age, so after Sauron lost the One Ring, and it laid after Isildur lost the power of the One Ring, and it was lying in the lake until it lay in the lake until Gollum picked it up. So this is supposed to be set when the ring is at the bottom of the lake, waiting for Gollum to pick it up. So we're just gonna see. I imagine this is going to be the downfall of the 19 rings, specifically the 9 rings of power for the men. So yeah, I've only got 8 minutes before this SD card runs out of power, so let's just get into the trailer reaction of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, starting now!
What else is up there? There's wonders in this world, beyond our wandering.
Hopefully they went back to New Zealand for this. Hopefully they went back to New Zealand before the king. Before the Fellowship. Before the ring. A new legend begins this fall. Okay, not showing us a lot at all. Okay, I think that's all we've got, because I believe this is just the reveal of the trailer of the title, which was awesome in itself, by the way. I love that they did it practical as well. Yeah, that was not showing a lot at all. A lot of landscape, a lot of characters, quite a bit of CGI, but like I said, that's almost unavoidable at this time, because no one's really willing to put in the effort to do everything practical like Peter Jackson did for Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna love this show if they don't go too into Game of Thrones. Don't make it over political. and don't have too much stuff overriding itself. And definitely don't butcher your ending by throwing your characters into the trash and making just stupid decisions. So don't do that. Something that piqued my interest when thinking about this, if we're talking about the 19 ring holders, shouldn't Elrond and Galadriel be in this series because they hold rings of power in the Lord of the Rings? If they somehow managed to get Hugo Weaving and Cate Blanchett to show up, I would lose my shit. They've got to get at least one Lord of the Rings cast member back in this show as like a cameo appearance. They got to. Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this show. It's coming in September as well, so we've still got a while to wait for it. But yeah, just say I am hyped. We're going to learn all this history. I don't know if there is history. I don't know if there are any books that tell the story of what this show is trying to do, or if it's just a completely original series just set in the Tolkien universe. I'm not sure. But yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to see all of the ring holders, the rings of power holders. One particular being the Witch King of Angmar. Like if you see a ring of power and it's on the hand of a human, then it's going to be one of the ring wraiths, because the ring wraiths were the Black Riders were the holders of the 9 rings of power given to the race of men. And it looks like we got a lot of all of them in this episode. I saw humans, I saw elves, I saw dwarves. Hopefully we see it all, and I like I said, I do hope they went back to New Zealand for this, because New Zealand is Lord of the Rings is so important to New Zealand. It's ingrained in the culture, I believe. If there is any country that should love Lord of the Rings, it is New Zealand. So, oh yeah, it just looks so good. I cannot express enough how much I love Lord of the Rings, and how much I love that I hope they do this justice. If not, it'll be the greatest tragedy of my life if they don't make this work. Because The Hobbit is alright for me, I just don't like it as much as the original. But then again, that's true for most things. Because they over CGI'd The Hobbit and it didn't always look good. So hopefully with the CGI in this, they can make it look good. What I saw looks decent, and hopefully they're not completely finished yet, so they make it look better. But, oh... And I know we're heading for a tragedy when we're looking at the 9 holders of the race of men. I know we're heading for a tragedy there, because they're all going to fall to the dark side, so to speak, and turn to ring wraiths. So I'm just interested to see what story they weave into all this. Yeah. I am just so in love with this idea. I love that they're giving this its time to shine, because Lord of the Rings, it's a long story and it needs its time. All of the extended editions of Lord of the Rings take 12 hours to watch, even more probably. So yeah, I love that they're giving it its time to shine in this. But I've only got 2 minutes, or maybe even 1 minute left on this SD card, so I've got to get going. So this was my reaction to the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power trailer. It looked amazing. I can't wait till it comes out. Until next time, we are over and out. Bye!